Welcome to the newest issue of the Profitable Home Services Podcast. Our guest today is Michael Disney. He is the COO and co-owner for CEO Warrior, where he leads the large and growing company as a trainer and subject matter expert. Early in his career, Disney was an automotive electrical specialist before joining Gold Medal Service in 2013 as a lead generator. He then accelerated through the company to director of sales and had a key role in the sales successes, including their highest recorded sales month ever at 3.5 million. He joined CEO Warrior as a master coach in 2015 and became COO in 2019. CEO Warrior is a business consulting, training, and mentoring firm providing tested and proven methods to defeat the roadblocks that prevent small to mid-sized businesses from achieving their ultimate success. Michael Disney joined Mike and Rob's service company as a lead generator, and he quickly proved his skill at growing the business. He accelerated through the company to director of sales, where he managed outside sales teams, the outbound department, and relationships with national retail chains. He played a part in every function at the service company and had a key role in the sales successes, including their highest recorded sales month. After Mike and Rob exited the service company to focus exclusively on serving business owners at CEO Warrior, Michael Disney joined them as the director of CEO Warrior. Today, Michael leads the large and growing CEO Warrior team as a COO and a co-owner. Welcome, Mike Disney. Thank you so much for taking time from your very busy schedule to join me today on our podcast.
Well, thanks for having me. That was a whole lot of stuff there.
That was the short version.
Yeah, it's interesting to hear the journey when somebody else speaks it. That's for sure.
It is. I remember being on different podcasts and going, I did all that.
That's great. It's great. I love it.
Yeah, because we do tend to forget our successes because we're so busy focused on what's next.
Sure, absolutely.
Yeah. Well, the theme to our podcast is finding profit leaks in home service businesses. And I know you have come across a bunch of them in your years with working with CEO Warrior. So I'm going to let you lead off with just any one that maybe that you've seen that we might want to expand on a little bit and help some of these home service businesses shore up some of their profit leaks in their business.
Yikes. Where do we begin, Diane? Where do we begin? I think like with profit leaks, I think it comes from an overall discipline that most, and I'll say most home service business owners kind of don't understand their true identity, if you will, right? And we kind of try to map that out when we meet people initially and they come into our world for the first time. We have them think about who they are to their business, what they should be to their business, and what they shouldn't be to their business. And I think when we first have conversations of, when we just go through, this conversation with somebody and go through the diligence of understanding their business, get acclimated to what that is, have a true discovery call about their business, usually what we uncover is that they don't have a financial responsibility to their business, or they haven't built one. And so that's really important. And working with people like you from a business standpoint to get somebody to help them with, how to set up their accounts, how to do some routine accounting, how to do tax purpose accounting, how to do some things. That's really, really important. But I think the biggest problem with most business owners is they don't look at it on a day-to-day basis. They're not job costing. They're not focused on the little things that really move the big levers. And so I think really defining who you are to your business and the highest best use of your time is singularly the most profitable thing you can do for your business.
And then I'm going to echo with measuring your numbers, paying attention, staying focused, and doing it daily, consistently, day after day after day after day, and don't stop.
Well, you know Rob, right? So Rob Zadati, one of the founders at CEO Warrior, and we all love him to death because he's such a brilliant guy. He told me a long time ago when I became director of sales at Gold Medal Service, he said, you have a choice. You can sit in the movie theater and you can watch the movie, which means you're going to look at your P&L on a monthly basis. You're going to reconcile your accounts. And you're going to do all that natural stuff. Or you could be on the screen acting in it and look at it every single day. So when we have a financial meeting, you already know what the outcome is. You've already lived it and breathed it on a day-to-day basis. And I think, being a previous business owner, then prior to working with Mike and Rob, and then having the fortune to be a shareholder here at CEO Warrior, recognizing that when you look at the stuff that you really want to accentuate on a daily basis, it just simply happens. And the problem is we think of profit, and I know you're a profit first accountant, but when you think about profit, we think about it last. We don't think about it first. We think about all the other things we have to pay for: the rent, the payroll, the parts, the materials. We got to make sure our pay plans are on point. And then we always go, well, if there's money left over, it's a great thing, instead of really planning for what that is. Because if you're not planning for it, it probably won't happen.
It generally won't happen.
Right.
I remember one of my coaching members last year, one of his first week 1 or week 2, whatever it was, we were all on Zoom, and he looks at me with this funny look on his face, and he says, I've been in business for, I don't know, 20, 25 years. And he says, how come this is the first time that somebody is telling me I can plan for the amount of profit I want to have? He says, why hasn't somebody told me that years ago?
Yeah.
And I think that's sad that these business owners are really good at whatever it is, whether they're HVAC, plumbing, electrical, roofing, doesn't matter. They're really good at that, but they don't know how to monitor the numbers. They don't know how to track them. They don't feel comfortable. And so they just go do something that they're more comfortable with.
And they default to easy all the time. And that's exactly what it is. And so what we find with home service owners is that they come in and they have this, I guess we could have an appreciation for it. They have this level of ignorance to the finances, right? To how they get profit and all those things. And what we do, we have this non-negotiable at CEO Warrior. When you come into our world and you become a member, you have to go through what we call a sold hour, sold day calculator. And that kind of positions you for what your pricing model looks like, right? What is the hourly rate you should be charging? What is the day rate for crews you should be charging? And when we run them through that, it's always funny when we get to like the page where we break down the member costs, we break down profitability, we break down all those things. They're just like, I can't believe that that's going to deliver me that much profit. And the reality is if you focus on that and you have great systems and processes, it will. But if you don't, you'll discount jobs, you won't be efficient in the field, you'll overpay for people, you won't have efficient and effective approach to, how you literally fill your bank account of profit up. And I think that's really the biggest thing. Just genuinely understanding that most of our clients, not all of them, there's a bunch that come in with a pretty wicked ability to understand things, but there are a bunch that come because they're so tactical and great with their hands, they miss the opportunity to be that administrative monster that their business needs, right? The guy that comes in that understands, if I do this job for 10 grand, what margin makes sense for me to deliver profit to my business? And that's really the singular most important thing that an owner should be focused on, is the sustainability of job after job, task after task. And that is a daily principle, if not multiple day principle to look at. It doesn't mean you have to be the one looking at it, but you have to have people that are safeguarding that to make sure that it is functional, it's efficient, it's delivering the things that are necessary, because none of us went into business to lose money. And none of us want to have the inherent risk. And I tell this to a lot of my members. The one thing that a lot of our members have this disconnect with their people about is that our people don't understand the amount of risk that the owners are under when they own a business. And you can't manage risk without a reward. And if you're going to go have all this inherent risk and put your family in potential hazard, you have to have a reward for that. And once you can build the disciplines of that in your pricing models, in your selling structure, in your marketing positioning, and your call to actions, if all of that lines up, now all you got to do is fix the inefficiencies that you may have in the deliverable of that. And then it becomes, quite frankly, exciting and fun. And then when you start thinking of the future, you start thinking of growth, and you start thinking of legacy, and you start thinking about how you can be. I mean, like, look, I talk about the home service industries a lot because it's in my DNA. I've been in it for 10 years now, and an auto mechanic prior to that. I think the greatest thing in the world with little local home service companies is that we are the most charitable people in the world. And so when we're profitable, we can be charitable. We can do things for our community. We can hire more people. We can serve more families. And when we're not, boy, it's a tough road to hell.
Do you often see that some of that comes from a mindset that maybe profit is bad, profit is greedy? I mean, I hear that sometimes from people when I coach them, that they've grown up with parents that have maybe not said those exact words, but it's been felt within their family, and so they're almost afraid to make a profit.
Yeah, I mean, absolutely. I think mindset is really impactful in that. I don't necessarily know that people think that in today's day and age that they think it's greedy, even though some people may, people that don't understand them in their family, right? Like you're an entrepreneur and all of your brothers and sisters work for the township. They're never going to understand what you go through. So those conversations at the Thanksgiving Day table are going to be just chaotic for you. You're not going to want to participate, and they're going to have the feelings like, how much do you charge for that? Because they don't understand. They have ignorance around it as well. I believe that the biggest challenge, and what I do hear mostly, is that I can't charge that. People won't pay that. And so when I hear that, I'm always like, well, and we teach this one concept in Warrior. Ask this question all the time. I think first and foremost, you got to be non-judgmental, right? You have to be incredibly curious. And then the next thing you should always ask, if you're met with a challenging question, you should just simply ask, what if that's not true? What if it's not true? And like, look, I understand that some people have a belief system that a water heater should cost $1,500 install. I also know that there's people in the world charging $3,800 for that to be installed. And so I don't know if anybody's right or wrong, because every business is different and every business has a certain level of sustainability it needs. And every business is priced differently. Every business has different resources and different overhead and has to charge a different price. So for most business owners, it's just that it's the inexperience of understanding the touch points of the finances that really put them in a position to be questioning who they are, what they do, and why they do it.
I'm always telling my clients, get out of your customer's pocketbook.
Yeah.
Just get out. You don't know what's in there. Don't assume what's in there. And go ahead and quote your price and do it with a smile and be confident. And 9 times out of 10, you'll be okay.
Well, I think that comes down to simple process, right? I think that comes down to and like, look, most owners, I mean, if you can't sell, you're probably not an owner, right? Entrepreneurs are entrepreneurs because they've got that spirit of sales. They've got the spirit of attraction. They've got the spirit of conversion, if you will. I think the challenge is that they do exactly what you said, Diane. They put themselves in that empathetic, it transcends empathy. It goes into sympathy almost, right? It goes like, we want to put ourselves in the position of our clients, but we can't live there. We didn't put ourselves in the position for where they are. And so if I were to go to a home where they have 2 air conditioning systems because they got 2-zone system, and I'm worried about what I charge them, and then I kind of think, well, the house it's not painted, it's not upkept, they have a shitty car in the driveway, whatever. That's all judgmental. And that judgment, there's no place for judgments in the world at all. I think open-minded, educate people on what their decisions are, whatever decision they make based on their needs, that's going to be really important. But you can't create a business and create profitability in your business if you're using all this, and I call it distractions, right? Because there's no client in the world that you could call up today, from no plumber that I know, where their clients know exactly what a water heater should cost. None of them know that. They don't know up to code charges. They don't know this, they don't know that. And the businesses that are not profitable are the ones that fail to have real pricing structure and fail to have systems and processes that follow that pricing structure right to the bottom line.
And I think that's really important what you just said, because that rolls back into your systems and your processes.
100%.
If you don't have that, your business can't succeed and it can't be profitable.
Yeah, and then to take it another level, right? And I know this is where you spend most of your time. When I look at P&Ls with a client, we do a monthly review every month with our clients with their P&L, and we take a look at above the line, below the line, and we look at the ancillary line items. Sometimes you look at it and you're like, well, how could that be possible? And they're like, oh no, something's wrong with it. And you're just like, well, if something's wrong with it, we have to fix it, because right now, when we're having this conversation, we're building action items to improve your profitability, to stop what you call profit leaks in the business. And if we're finding bad information, we're never going to make critical decisions that make sense. And so that's where, when you're out in the truck or you're out in the field and you're doing that work because you love it, remember, that's easy. That's why you got to get your butt back in the office. You got to take a look at your financial. When do I need to look at my cash flow statement? How long should that look? How long should that be down the road? When do I look at my balance sheet? What is a balance sheet? For most of my clients, like, that was a foreign concept to them coming into our world. I don't know. I never looked at a balance sheet. They just give it to me at the end of the year. I pay my taxes. I say my rosary and I'm happy, right? And the reality is it's a day-to-day grind. You got to focus on it. And if you illuminate it with intention and energy, you will improve it. That's profitability, that's revenue, that's quality of work for your people. I mean, like, even when we talk about training and stuff like that, if you're focused on the training of your people, they'll convert better because they'll have a better discipline. And so I see it all too often that people just come into, the business, because it's easy to go get a business license today. It's easy to go up and let's go get an LLC. Let's give us a name. We have our name. But the problem that most of them have is they're so good with the tools, whether they're a plumber, an HVAC guy, pest control, they're really good with that. But they miss the opportunity for, having somebody who's with them to educate them on a financial journey that will really transform where they're going.
And then that comes down to seeing that person as an expense, not an investment in the success of their business.
Yeah, I mean, you see it all the time that people will hire an accountant that they know because a friend knows somebody or somebody knows somebody, and they don't hold them accountable to timely reporting, to making sure that the chart of accounts are right and makes sense, right? And so there's so many things that we see from just fragmented business practice. And I think that's really what it comes down to. If you could really build a priority around it, I think your finances come first. I think your sales are very, very important, and your marketing is there too. So if you could think about marketing and sales and then how it creates finances in and out of your business, the easy part is handling the operations of it. It really, really is.
Yeah, that part comes pretty natural for most of them.
Yeah, because like, if you got to show a guy how to install a water heater, well, you've been doing that since you were 15 anyway, so that's not a big deal. But looking at a 13-month cash flow statement and what that means and the impact of that, well, that's foreign to you. That's like me speaking Greek or French, where you got to sit down and you have to take the discipline and the time to understand why, when, and how, and all those things that really, really matter from a financial standpoint.
And it's like a muscle, like anything else. I watch these guys pick up these great big heavy whatever it might be they're picking up, and they can do it. Could I do that? I sit behind a desk every day. No way. But on the flip side, when it comes to your numbers, if you don't exercise the financial muscle, it just atrophies, and then we have a business that isn't profitable. And then you can't pay your employees, your paychecks are bouncing, and next thing you know, you're out of business. And so that financial muscle is so important.
I think it lends to ease of business, right? I think it lessens your stress. I think it improves your trajectory. Like, the worst thing for a business owner is to be in a position to make an acquisition that will propel their business, but not be able to afford it.
Oh, that's awful. Yeah, that's a tough place to be.
If some amazing opportunity comes in front of you, you want to be able to be prepared to take advantage of that. And if you're not, it's probably because you don't have that discipline of working out and exercising your financial responsibility to the business.
Right.
I mean, like, on a financial meeting, that's time to build action items. It's not okay just to look at a P&L and have a P&L. What does the P&L tell us? How has it created action in us to improve whatever that may be? I mean, if I had a problem with conversion, well, that would show up in my revenue, and I'm going to have to go fix that. If I look at my marketing spend and it's 28%, well, I'm pretty sure that I budgeted that marketing spend. And the reason it's escalated in its percentage is because my sales have fallen off. I'm not attracting the right avatar. Maybe they're buying one item per transaction instead of 3 or 4 or 5 like we would like. And so we've got to go take the P&L, the financial documents, and really establish how do we improve our business, because the inefficiencies in our financial I guess I'll say reasoning in our business creates real inefficiency throughout our business.
And it's really obvious once you learn how to read those financials. I tell people that their tax return and their P&L and balance sheet to me is like reading a book.
Right.
Because I can see these pieces that they may not be able to see them, but once they learn how to read them, then they start being able to see the inefficiencies and things that the story that those basic reports tell.
And I think it's really important to have a partner, right? So when you do, like you said before, you can't look at your financial person who's there to help you, whether or not it's a controller you've hired or an accountant that you have on your side or whatever it looks like for you. You have to have a relationship with them, that it is an investment, that you are learning and improving, and that it's a necessary and maybe one of the singular most important investments in your business. As you think about how you take cash in and out and some of the tax considerations for all of that. I mean, you know, these guys that are getting big in the space, and the space is noisy with all kinds of coaches and implementers and all these people. And then the people like me and you, Diane, who've been doing this forever, we kind of laugh as these new guys come in and out. But these guys that are getting big, they didn't get big because they didn't understand their finances. They're getting big because they understand their finances. Now, whether or not they're incredibly profitable, there's probably a lot of leaks that they have just based on sheer size. And that's where it's really important to sit down with a qualified accountant, somebody who's tax prepared, somebody who understands the business, can really dive into the P&L and get you to understand those documents and not only that, but the frequency of when you should look at them, how you should be looking at them, and then ultimately, how should you create actions to improve them? I think is really important, and it is an investment. And all too often, we look at it as an expense on the line item, as a line item expense, and then we just get frustrated with it rather than understand the service level it should be providing our business and go and experiencing that.
There's just so much to learn as they transition from working in the field to becoming the CEO, the leader of their company, and growing that company and leading their team to a successful and profitable, future for the company.
Yeah, I think that I think most guys that are plumbers, electrical guys, HVAC companies, whatever your discipline is, you've probably at one time or the other thought you were invincible when you were out in the field. And you were like, I could do any of this work. I don't understand why it takes my guys this long. I don't understand. I don't get bothered by the 140-degree attic. I don't get bothered by the crawl space, because for you, it's incredibly easy. It's incredibly easy. The problem is that you may be spending too much time there. And what you really should be doing is spending some disciplined time in the office to understand the strategies of finance and how they really impact your business.
Mm-hmm. Now, I know in CEO Warrior, I've heard my clients talk about war planning. Mm-hmm. And I love the way you guys walk them through the uncomfortableness of laying out their budget, that 4-letter word budget, laying out some of those things, and then actually holding them accountable. Can you talk a little bit about war planning?
Yeah, so we've just gone through, being it's July, it's mid-July almost. Well, I can't believe summer's almost over. And so we've had a midterm review of war planning. And so for our clients, we go into their war planning document. We're taking a look at a lot of different things, but we do war planning at the end of every year. I think every business should have a budget. If you don't have a budget, it's a hope and a prayer that you get somewhere. For us, we are building in profitability. We're building in call volume. We're building in conversion rates. We're building in average tickets. And so what we do is we take a whole lot of the historical data and our clients love this because we've run them through the mill with homework. They have to come to the train, and it's a 3-day training, and we literally build their budget for the following year. And then that next year, we look at it every single month, and we look at variances in the P&L. Why are they happening? We look at year over year, month over month. We look at quarter to quarter, because those are the things that are the most impactful. Like, I could look at the P&L and see some things that are telling me some stories. Diane, you could do that with your, it's like second nature to you. It's like anything else, like riding a bicycle. Most of our clients, they can't look at the P&L and see those things, but they can certainly look at, I had 10 calls that came in and I booked 5 of them. That's a 50% booking percent. Well, in my world, that's not good, right? And so now we have to understand, where does your training need to match what your war planning budget was? Because you're going to build out a budget where your phone call might be built out at an 80% booking rate. And then your conversion rate in the house may be built out at, let's say, 70%. I'm being comfortable with these numbers. And then your average ticket may be $1,100. I don't know. I'm just throwing out numbers. But if we built the budget to that, guess what? If you've got profitability built into your budget, guess what you got to do? Just manage to your budget. Stop overthinking it. Manage to your budget. It will deliver the profitability you planned on. The problem is that most people, they build a budget, they spend a lot of time doing it, and then they put it in a drawer and don't look at it.
They do not look at it until somebody makes them pull it out a year later.
Right.
And then they wonder why they didn't hit it.
And even if you hit top line, right? Even if you hit top line, because, with COVID was a gift to the home service industry, right? Everybody being home. I'm in my house now working from home, and I can hear when the air conditioning has a hard start. I can hear when the toilet's leaking on its own. I can hear the drippy faucets. I can hear, I can see the lights that don't work because I got a million lights everywhere. And the reality is being home gave everybody this opportunity to see the things they wanted fixed. We got gifts in COVID. We don't have them anymore. Now it's back to reality. And so now it's really important that if you build out a budget, just manage to the budget. Don't overthink things. Just impress upon why we need to book at a certain rate and have the training and the knowledge to get your people to that level. Same thing with the field conversion rates. Same thing with the average tickets. And then, converting all the other layers in your business that matter.
Yeah. And if you work the plan consistently, you will get the output or the net profit that you were wanting to get.
Yeah, well, I mean, just think about it. It's like we all know, like, health is a big thing as we get older, right? I'm 53 now. So now I'm going to do all my things that I need to get done. I have a wonderful colonoscopy scheduled for the first week of August. I have some other things that I'm doing to get my blood pressure monitored, and I'm getting action items from my doctor of things I should be focused on. Now, I already know I have to eat right. I already know I have to get off my butt and exercise and walk and do some work. It's summertime, so we have the ability to swim and be active and get outside more often. But it's not a mystery of the things that I need to do to be more healthy, right? I know that I probably shouldn't drink a lot. I shouldn't smoke. I shouldn't do all these things I shouldn't do. I already know what they are. The problem with why we're not healthy is we don't do the discipline. And it's the same thing in business. We already know that we have to understand how we manage our cash. We already know that we have to have really good discipline on profitability. We shouldn't discount. We have to learn how to sell better. We have to learn how to serve the clients at the highest level. The problem is that it's all there. It's all written. All we have to do is just follow the plan and the process. And sometimes you just need accountability for that. And I think like having someone like you, Diane, work for, our clients, that creates a level of accountability because you're highlighting the things they should be thinking about. And that's how we view ourselves at CEO Warrior, right? We are this accountability measure in your life. It's not just about your finances. It's not just about the operational end of your business. It's about everything, but you need people to highlight the things that maybe you don't have a brilliance in. And it's okay to not be brilliant in finances, because there's a million hyper successful business owners that have great financial minds next to them working and doing the work for them. But you have to have the discipline to understand it and make sure you're staying the course of action to improve the things in your business.
Yeah, we know we can't be good in every discipline. And so we have to surround ourselves with people who are stronger than we are in certain disciplines. And I know implementation and accountability are always ones that people struggle with, where if you've got a coach that you're meeting with on a regular basis, you're going to get this stuff done because you know you've got that meeting coming up next week.
Right.
And you don't want to let that coach down, or you don't want to be embarrassed in the group call, or whatever it might be is your impetus for it. But you will get the work done, and you will have your homework done and come onto that call and be prepared. And I think
Yeah,
that is such a game changer for people.
totally. And I was on a call earlier today because one of my advisors wasn't feeling really great and asked me if I could step in. And I was like, cool, yeah, no problem. And I can go right to the template, and I can see the P&L that was delivered. I can look at the war planning document. I can see the action items and the homework that needed to be delivered. And I'm not doing anything other than just asking questions around all the information. And the reality is that's a systematic approach to improving the business. And if you don't have that, then I wonder, do you really care about growing and improving your business?
Yes. Or are you content just to be a technician?
Yeah. And some people, and boy, that's a really great point that we struggle with here too.
Yeah.
I hate the fact that some of our clients have purchased themselves a job and not built a wealth vehicle that a business is really meant to be for them and their family.
And there is that group of people out there. They will never, ever step up and do the stuff, do the daily exercises that have to happen to keep them and help them become successful, because they're content with just buying themselves a job.
Yeah, I challenge that a little bit though. I hate that. Don't you? I mean, like
I do too. Yeah,
I,
drives me insane.
I sit in the world and I'm like, but you're a really good person. And if you could grow a business, how many more people could you positively affect? What would it mean to their families? How would that impregnate the community with a form of gratitude? And so complacency, I just don't know exists in today's world. Like, I think if you're going to be complacent in your business with the way that technology and information flies today, I don't necessarily know that you would be pretty formidable if you were complacent in any measure in your business, right? I think sense of urgency, desired outcome, I think hyper focus on action plans. I think there's no room for complacency in an entrepreneur spirit. And I think if you are working for a job, I think you probably could make more money working for someone else than you could for yourself with a better quality of life. And so why do you do it that way? Because I think entrepreneurs that are real, true entrepreneurs, that spirit doesn't sit well, right? And it's all about growth and scale and improvement, or just genuinely like, look, it doesn't mean you have to go from 1 million to 100 million. You could be $1 million business, just improve your bottom line. You could be $1 million business and serve the right clients, right? And not do the things that are taking away from either your work-life balance that you desire so much, or the freedom. Like for me, I mean, I was out doing Comfort Advisor sales when I was at Gold Medal Service, and I gave up on that so I could coach my kids' football team. Now, I made more money selling in the homes, but as a dad, there's a dream to always want to coach your kids' football team, and so life is full of sacrifices, right? And where you as a business owner sacrifice, I think there's places for that to take place, but I don't think in the financial acumen of your business is that one of them.
No, that should not be one of them.
Right, for sure.
Yeah. Well, Mike, thank you so much for coming on the program today. You really shared a lot of insights and great information. And if any of our listeners are interested in learning more about CEO Warriors, where could they go to get a hold of you or to learn more about CEO Warriors?
Yeah, so they could just go right to ceowarrior.com. There's all kinds of things they could do. We do a free strategy session. If you wanted to work on one of your bigger challenges that you may be facing, you'll get on with an advisor and they'll help you with that challenge. Or they could literally text me or call me directly. I love giving out my phone number and helping business owners. So I'll throw it out there, 732-266-4853. I spend a lot of time with people and I love being able to help and assist, even if it's through a genuine conversation. I love that. So Yeah, and we're here to help anybody in the home services. And if there's some place you struggle, if it is accountability or implementation, we have events that we walk people through that really challenge some of that and put them in a position to really have success around planning and preparation and action steps.
Yeah, thank you again. And I know, as I've been a part of on the fringe of CEO Warriors for many years, I've seen some huge changes in some of your members
Yeah.
over the years. And it's been exciting to watch that happen and to watch them become true leaders in their business.
Yeah, we've had 40 of our clients, many of them you've known, maybe a few of them you've worked with, that have exited to private equity, generational wealth for their families. So we're super proud of their journey and their effort and their hard work. And that's what it really comes down to, Diane. It's not about, there is no magic pill. If there was, we'd all be taking it. And it's really about hard work and effort and staying focused.
Right. So thank you again, Mike.
Thank you.
And that's a wrap for this episode of the Profitable Home Service Podcast. Remember, it's not how much money you make, it's how much money you keep. Be sure and grab a free digital copy of my book, The Path to Profitability, which shares 9 profit-boosting tactics that will transform your service business. You can head on over to yourpathtoprofitbooks.com and get your free copy. Thank you so much for joining us today, and we'll catch you on the next episode.